Gaming laptops are typically flashy, loaded with RGB lighting, and slapped with steep price tags to match their power. Yet, there's a surprising challenger hidden away on used marketplace listings and overlooked by most gamers. It doesn't look the part. It's not draped in colorful LEDs or sleek metal curves. In fact, this old corporate laptop can seem dull at first glance. But dig deeper, and you'll uncover a wealth of secrets that put it toe-to-toe with pricier machines. Rumors claim it can handle some of the most popular esports titles and even moderate AAA games without melting down. The question on everyone's mind is simple. How could something so unassuming match up to modern gaming rigs? In this video, we'll journey through all the controversies, conspiracies, and hidden strengths of a second-hand laptop series that's been quietly championed by tech-savvy players. From the sensational rumors about pre-installed bloatware to the exhilarating stories of everyday people upgrading it to handle advanced gaming, each twist adds another layer to its cult-like reputation. By the end, you might be convinced that your next gaming rig shouldn't be a brand new device at all. Instead, it might be a well-worn machine with a reputation for reliability and a surprisingly durable design. Let's jump into the first chapter of this surprising tale and see how a business-class laptop became a stealthy favorite among gamers who care more about performance than appearances. Welcome to Gamer's Service Announcement. GSA, the more you know. Click that subscribe button and hit on the alert button to get notified about new videos for you. If you ask your average gamer about their dream laptop, the phrase used corporate machine is rarely the first thing they'll mention. Usually you'll hear about high-end GPUs, monstrous cooling solutions, and flashy designs that scream gaming. So how did a second-hand Thinkpad or similar model end up on the radar of thrifty gamers? Well, it all starts with the build quality. These machines were originally designed for large enterprises, the kind that expects durability and performance day in, day out. The manufacturer's top priority was reliability. Everything from the frame to the keyboard was built to handle hours of spreadsheets and coding marathons. Yet hidden beneath their plain exteriors, many corporate models packed robust processors, ample RAM support, and surprisingly advanced cooling for the time. Meanwhile, consumer-focused laptops of the same era often cut corners to maximize profit. That included cheaper plastic shells and subpar thermal systems. But in business-grade laptops, designers knew that corporate clients couldn't afford downtime. They demanded hardware that just kept going, no matter how many hours employees spent editing presentations or running resource-heavy software. Fast forward to today, and these laptops have largely cycled out of offices, replaced with newer generations in corporate IT fleets. Suddenly, the used market is flooded with them. Still functional, still tough, and still capable of surprising performance. Gaming fans who took a gamble on these machines started realizing that, with a few tweaks, some older ThinkPads or similar enterprise brands could handle popular titles like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, and Overwatch at decent frame rates. It was an eye-opener. Suddenly, the stereotype that old laptops are worthless for gaming didn't hold up quite so well. But a different kind of skepticism arose too. How secure were these machines, especially after certain controversies? That's where the story gets a bit rocky. Some might recall the privacy scandals that put Lenovo under fire. The Superfish debacle, for instance, involved pre-installed adware on certain consumer models that alarmed many users. Although it didn't affect every single device out there, the damage to Lenovo's public image was done. Even gamers who merely use these devices for offline play couldn't help but feel uneasy. Then came the big security revelations, Meltdown and Spectre vulnerabilities that rocked the entire tech industry. Intel processors found in countless laptops were suddenly labeled potential security risks. While these vulnerabilities weren't exclusive to Lenovo or corporate laptops, the global spotlight turned toward whether older machines might be more susceptible or less likely to receive timely patches. Amid these controversies, rumors spread about backdoored BIOS or hidden data collection software. Many of these rumors were likely exaggerated, but they gained traction anyway, especially among more cautious gamers worried about data privacy. At the heart of it all was a simple truth. Large corporations do make missteps, and the brand behind this business laptop line wasn't immune to scrutiny. Still, most of the issues that caused waves in the community were either addressed through patches or limited to specific models. Enthusiast gamers and do-it-yourself fixers soon realized they could sidestep many of these problems by doing a clean install of an operating system, wiping the hard drive, installing Windows or Linux from scratch, and applying all current updates often removed any questionable software that might have come bundled in the past. These controversies might scare off casual buyers, but for the gamer who's curious and maybe a little daring, there's an allure to a used machine that can be customized from the ground up. And that leads us to the real hook: how modding potential has won over so many gamers. Let's face it, modern gaming laptops are often sealed up tighter than a fortress. Cracking one open can void your warranty. Components like RAM and storage might be soldered in place, making upgrades impossible. And if you want to improve battery life or swap out a flaky Wi-Fi card, you're often out of luck. But on many older business-focused laptops, modularity is practically a trademark. You can remove a few screws, pop off a panel, and access the key components almost immediately. Gamers have found this especially enticing because it lets them breathe new life into a used machine with minimal hassle. RAM upgrades. These laptops typically have 1 or 2 DIMM slots that can handle a decent amount of memory, often up to 16 or 32 gigabytes. In some cases, a whopping 64 gigabytes. Storage options. Swapping a mechanical hard drive for a solid-state drive can drastically improve boot times and load speeds in games. Some models even support NVMe SSDs, though that depends on the specific generation and chipset. Battery swaps. For gamers who play on the go, a fresh or extended capacity battery can make the difference between a functional gaming session and a mid-match meltdown. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth modules. If you need faster connectivity, you can upgrade to a modern Wi-Fi 6 card, provided the BIOS doesn't lock you out. Display replacements. Certain models allow you to swap a dull TN panel for a sharper IPS panel, improving color accuracy and viewing angles. Keyboard upgrades. Some users even hunt down aftermarket keyboards with different layouts or improved keycaps for a better gaming feel. The holy grail for many is the possibility of using an external GPU eGPU. While not every older laptop supports this seamlessly, certain models with Thunderbolt or USB-C ports can connect to an external graphics enclosure. Suddenly, your plain office laptop can tap into a desktop-grade GPU's power for serious gaming performance. Sure, there are bandwidth bottlenecks and other quirks, but the fact that it's even possible turns heads. Of course, there's a flip side. You may stumble on fake or poorly refurbished parts. Sketchy online sellers might claim brand new OEM battery when it's really a knockoff that barely holds a charge. Still, for many, these risks are worth navigating. The reward is a laptop that can be upgraded piece by piece rather than tossed out the moment something fails. But how does all this modularity translate into actual gaming performance? That's where things get interesting. Reading spec sheets doesn't always tell the full story. Maybe the CPU is a 7th or 8th generation Intel chip, far from cutting edge by today's standards. The integrated graphics might be Intel's UHD series, widely considered underpowered for modern AAA gaming. So why would any serious gamer bother? The short answer: real-world results can be surprising. If you're into popular esports titles like Dota 2, Rocket League, or Valorant, these older processors can still handle 1080p at medium or even high settings with respectable frame rates. You won't be hitting 240 frames per second on ultra settings, but you could easily maintain smooth gameplay in the 60 to 120 frames per second range for many competitive titles. For older AAA games, think Skyrim, BioShock Infinite, or the Dark Souls series, this laptop's integrated GPU often manages well if you're comfortable tweaking settings and sticking to 720p or 1080p at lower detail. It won't be cinematic 4K, but it's perfectly serviceable for people who value gameplay over jaw-dropping visuals. Then there's the matter of cooling. Business laptops usually have well-designed fans and heat pipes because corporate clients can't afford to deal with random shutdowns caused by overheating. Gamers find that a simple upgrade to a high-quality thermal paste can lower temperatures enough to maintain stable performance during intense matches. Even though these machines aren't built from the ground up as gaming devices, their robust engineering can keep things from getting too toasty under moderate to heavy loads. The real game changer, however, is hooking up an external GPU. With a decent desktop graphics card and the right enclosure, you could theoretically transform this laptop into a formidable gaming station. Bandwidth constraints might limit you somewhat compared to a fully desktop setup, but even so, it's leaps and bounds above any integrated GPU performance. All these perks become even more interesting when you consider how little these machines can cost. Let's delve into the price debate next, because for most gamers, cost is a huge deciding factor. It's no secret that a brand new gaming laptop with a mid-range dedicated GPU can easily surpass $1,000. Some push 2 or 3,000 for top-tier performance. If you're on a budget or just reluctant to drop a mortgage payment on a laptop, it can feel like your options are limited to bargain basement models that struggle to run anything beyond retro titles. In contrast, many older business laptops can be found for a fraction of that price, often in the $200 to $500 range depending on specs. That's significantly less than a fresh budget gaming laptop, which might still run $600 to $800 for an entry-level GPU and questionable build quality. With a used corporate unit, you're getting a device that once sold for well over $1,000 when new, built to higher standards, and potentially loaded with better baseline components. Some folks approach this purely from a bang-for-your-buck perspective. Why shell out for a brand new laptop with a low-end GPU, minimal RAM, and questionable reliability when you can adopt a second-hand powerhouse that was top of the line just a few years ago? Upgrading the RAM and installing a solid-state drive might cost a bit extra, but the total still often lands below the cost of a new mid-range gaming laptop. Of course, there's a trade-off. A brand new machine usually includes a warranty, official support, and the peace of mind that comes from being the first owner. If anything breaks on your used device, you're likely left to fix it or replace parts on your own dime. Yet for the technically inclined or the budget-conscious, that risk is often worth the reward. Gamers who don't mind tinkering see it as an opportunity, an adventure even. They get to explore the ins and outs of hardware, customizing their machines to suit their personal style of play. Still, it's not always smooth sailing. Let's discuss the bumps on the road so you know exactly what you're getting into. No product or approach is without flaws, and buying a used corporate laptop for gaming is no exception. For one, battery health can be a real gamble. Some machines have been plugged in day and night for years, leading to severely degraded batteries that barely hold a charge. If you plan on gaming unplugged, that's a major consideration, though you can often replace the battery easily. Another concern is seller reliability. The internet is awash with questionable listings. Some might advertise excellent condition, only for you to receive a battered device with dead pixels or a failing hard drive. Other sellers might swap out original high-quality RAM for cheaper generic modules to maximize profit. The best advice is to buy from reputable sources, check return policies, and read as many reviews as possible. Gamers also need to set realistic expectations. You're not likely to fire up brand new resource-intensive games like Cyberpunk 2077 on maximum settings. Even with an eGPU, the CPU might bottleneck performance in certain modern titles. If you're chasing 4K at ultra quality, it's time to consider a desktop rig or a high-end gaming laptop designed specifically for that purpose. Maintenance can also be tricky if you're unprepared. Dust accumulation in fan vents or old thermal paste can lead to thermal throttling. If you're not comfortable opening up the chassis to do routine cleaning or part swaps, you might encounter performance dips. Those who are prepared to do some basic upkeep, however, often find the process simple and rewarding. Finally, there's the software angle. Some older laptops have quirks with Windows updates or driver compatibility. You may need to hunt for the correct drivers, reinstall everything from scratch, and do a bit of troubleshooting to get the perfect setup for gaming. If you're impatient or not fond of problem solving, that can be a major drawback. But if you enjoy tinkering, you might see it as just another challenge on your gaming quest. Despite these pitfalls, a loyal community has sprung up around these devices. That community support is often the deciding factor for hesitant buyers, so let's see how it plays into this larger story. Search online for forums dedicated to older Lenovo Thinkpads and other enterprise models, and you'll stumble upon a passionate, tight-knit crowd. They share success stories, benchmarks, troubleshooting guides, and detailed teardown videos. For gamers specifically, there are entire threads discussing eGPU setups, recommended SSDs, or which BIOS settings to tweak for the best performance in certain games. This sense of camaraderie can be a huge confidence boost for newcomers. Suddenly, you're not just buying a used laptop, you're stepping into a support network that can help you solve issues you might face. Whether it's a weird driver conflict or a question about modding the keyboard backlight, someone out there has already done it or is eager to try. What's more, you'll discover gamers who took these laptops to extremes most wouldn't have believed possible. Some have slapped on external radiators, replaced CPU cooling fans with more efficient models, or even performed advanced BIOS mods to unlock previously restricted features. While that might not be everyone's cup of tea, it highlights the infinite potential for customization. The cult following has even inspired a wave of custom accessories. People 3D print docks, design decorative stickers, and craft unique trackpoint caps. The laptop, once a mundane corporate tool, has morphed into a canvas for creativity. Gamers love personalizing their rigs, And this is personalization on an entirely different level. And that sense of belonging, being part of a subculture that reclaims corporate cast-offs for high-performance gaming, carries its own appeal. It's not just about saving money, it's about sharing tips, bragging rights, and the thrill of an underdog success story. You become part of a renegade crowd that, in many ways, is rewriting the narrative on what a gaming laptop can be. Yet after hearing all these pros and cons, it's only natural to wonder, is this really a path worth taking for your own gaming needs? Or is it just a fun hobby for a niche community? Let's wrap up with that final verdict. You've heard about the unexpected power lurking in an older business laptop. You've seen the controversies that once surrounded Lenovo, the security scandals that triggered global debates, and the rumors that might still give some buyers pause. You've also learned about the spectacular modding potential, spanning from simple RAM upgrades to eGPU transformations, and discovered the loyal community that stands ready to guide you through every hiccup. Now comes the big question. Is this hidden gem worth your time and money as a gamer? If you demand out-of-the-box performance at ultra settings for brand new, graphically intense titles, you might find these machines lacking. A standard integrated GPU won't magically morph into a powerhouse just because it's in a well-built chassis. Even with an external GPU, there are limits to what older CPU architectures can handle. On the other hand, if your gaming habits lean toward competitive multiplayer titles, older single-player gems, or you simply value a stable 60+S at 1080p over cranking everything to ultra, this laptop might be your perfect match. The cost savings, modular upgrades, and sturdy construction offer a compelling alternative to the flashy but often fragile gaming laptops hogging the spotlight today. It's a refreshing reminder that you don't always have to chase the latest model to enjoy quality gaming. Sometimes you can pick up a reliable workhorse with proven stability for a fraction of the cost. Sure, you might have to roll up your sleeves for some maintenance or driver tinkering, but that's part of the charm for those who like to get hands-on with their tech. Ultimately, only you can decide if the DIY route is your style. But one thing is certain, the old notion that these corporate laptops are strictly for office work has been shattered. Thanks to the creativity and persistence of gamers and hobbyists worldwide, these hidden gems continue to defy expectations, one match at a time. Who knows? Perhaps your next unstoppable gaming machine won't be a brand new device with a triple-digit price tag. Instead, it could be a seasoned veteran from the used market, ready to prove its worth in the virtual battlefield, at a price that won't make your wallet weep. If that sounds tempting, then you already know what to do. Start your search, dive into those modding forums, and prepare to discover just how much potential an old corporate laptop can really unleash. Keep asking questions, keep challenging assumptions, and above all, keep gaming. Because in a world where new tech gets all the glory, there's something undeniably satisfying about an underdog that refuses to stay down. And this might just be the underdog story you've been waiting for. If you like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that alert button for more awesome videos. Gamers Service Announcement: the more you know.